Welcome to Passive Aggressive Income. This program may contain strong language. The content may not be suitable for audiences under the age of 17. We understand many of our listeners may not agree with all of our personal viewpoints. We in no way, shape, or form mean to be offensive to anyone. Our show notes will provide all of our source material included for each episode. Now let's get passive aggressive.
Hello and welcome back to Passive Aggressive Income. We are your hosts, Lexi and Mims. Back for another week. Mims is going to take the reins on this one. We recently talked about body language and the kind of impact that you have on other people. So Mims is kind of sticking with a similar theme this week, and I'll let you take it away, Mims.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So, today we are going to talk about who you choose to surround yourself with. This episode is actually inspired by a comment that was made to me by someone earlier this week. He said, quote, "You are the first person I know that hasn't told me I'm crazy for wanting to pursue this passion." And to me, that really resonated because a young guy dreaming about how to get into passive income and investing in order to set up his future. And uh, that type of reaction from his circle is kind of odd to me because it's not like he's
Yeah,
saying, like, I want to smoke some crack and rob a bank and kidnap my neighbor's dog, right? He's like
right.
wanting to explore how to make passive income. And so that's what inspired this episode here.
Yeah, that makes me really sad. I feel like you really need that type of support system to do things that are like non-traditional with your life, like following some sort of passive income path. I mean, you can
Hmm.
definitely do it on your own and you can do it with the support of people that you meet online in groups or, by reading books that show you the way. But I think, yeah, it's really important to have people in your life that you know personally on a friendship level that are supportive of your dreams. So I'm glad you were that person for them.
Yeah, for sure. And it just goes to show that one conversation with somebody, because I just go to the gym with the guy, like it's not like we're close friends. It's not like we're like he's a family member. I just, go to the gym and sometimes we casually talk in between sets and then, talk about our passions and then that happened. And I'm like, you know, I am glad that you and I are able to talk about things like this. And yeah, I love being that type of person just to have these types of conversations.
Hmm.
So, as we mentioned in a previous episode, the company you keep will either help you or harm you. So, your tribe is so important, probably more important than people realize because I don't know, I feel like people tend to just have friends just to have them.
Hmm.
Due to meeting people and always like, oh, that's my friend and blah blah blah, or wanting to have that quantity amount of
Right.
friends. Um, so why is having specifically curated people in your life so important? I mean, why can't you have all the same friends you've had since kindergarten and just call it good? Well, you can. There's nothing wrong with being friends with people that you've known since your childhood. What I'm talking about is the quality of friends you keep. Uh, Are they helping you to level up? Do they seem to just be barely existing, coasting in life with no ambition? These questions are important to ask yourself of those who are surrounding you. So you need to evaluate those who are in your corner, uplifting you, or they're just to trip you every time that you try to make a move. The importance of having people who align themselves with you and the way of your thinking and your ambitions and that are truly there to support you will change your life. And I don't mean that your friends and family have to think exactly like you and agree with everything you say. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is your tribe will have their own diverse opinions and individual thinking, but it shouldn't be so far off base where it's not like, I'm just living to party and I want to go drink all night and I want to
Hmm.
go to, just spend money at the mall all the time when you are trying to invest and trying to
Yeah.
save and so keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah, and I think we have mentioned this in a previous episode, but the you are the average of the five people that you spend the
Mm,
most time with. And so if you are spending time with people who are out drinking all the time and partying, and that's just kind of what they do all the time, and maybe they don't have a lot of ambition to improve themselves on a physical, emotional, or even like monetary level, then it's going to be really hard for you to break out of those same patterns that they have and try and like do something with yourself, especially without that encouragement. And I think it really speaks to people who come from families who don't have the support system or who don't have
mm,
like the guidance of
yeah.
how to like get through school or like find a good paying job or start a business or own real estate. When you don't have those sort of role models in your house, then it's really difficult for you to figure out how to do that. And it's definitely not impossible. I mean, look at me and Mims. We come from that type of background and like we've been able to create those lifestyles where we're successful and we're ambitious. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not to, put anyone down who comes from that type of background, but it's
Mm-mm.
just to say, like, if you're spending time with people who don't have similar ambitions to you, then it's going to be more difficult for you to break
Yeah.
out of those same routines.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that because if you and I came from, a family that did teach us how to invest or did teach us how to all the things that we kind of self-taught ourselves to improve our lifestyles and our life in general, I think that maybe we would have, I don't know, I have no idea how we would have turned out, but the fact that you and I didn't have any of this guidance definitely did not deter us.
Mhm.
And I think that it made us more, I don't know, powerful in our own sense.
Yeah, we had to learn lessons along the way ourselves rather
Hmm.
than being sort of told through stories by, parents or whatever of like, hey, I made this mistake. You shouldn't do that. We had to make mistakes to
Yeah.
figure it out. And yeah, and so it helped us be more like well-rounded and
Hmm.
I guess like stress resistant type of people. We can take on a lot and, we're kind of
Yeah.
used to it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna touch base on some red flags that you need to look out for when you're evaluating the people in your life. So, number one, are they mocking your achievements? Like, are they saying, I could never start a business in this type of economy? Good for you for not worrying about the big stuff. Like, is everything that they say to you kind of backhanded?
Kind of
Um,
condescending.
yeah, condescending, not really supporting you, but like you don't know how to really call it out because they're like kind of not being completely like um I don't know, negative in a way.
They're being pretty passive aggressive.
Yes. Second, are they always making your wins somehow about them? For example, oh, I remember when I got a promotion and they gave me a corner office with a 5% raise. When you are talking about a promotion that you just got, switching it about them is very egotistical, in my opinion. And I've
Mhm.
had a lot of conversations where I'm like super excited about a life moment that just happened. And then all of a sudden we're talking about their life achievements that happened like 10 years ago. And I'm just like,
Right.
okay, great. My moment's gone.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for the recognition.
Right. Third, are they giving you constructive criticism or just agreeing with you even when you are in the wrong? So this is hurtful, but it is very helpful. For example, oh yeah, you're totally fine for cutting off a car on the highway and causing a massive pileup. It was probably their fault anyway. If you don't have people that check you in your life, then you're never going to grow and learn from your mistakes because you're
Hmm.
constantly going to be told, you're fine. It was probably their fault. And y- we all make mistakes. We all have things to learn from. And to think that we are never going to trip up is pretty delusional.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have people in your life that are like, no, this time I think you're in the wrong, but you know what? it happens to everybody, and I'm sure you can fix it in X, Y, and Z way.
Hmm.
It's just being real with you.
Yeah, and I think that self-reflection is really important too. Like if you do have a friend that's doing that, don't just think like, oh, well, they're just being a dick. Like, how dare they?
No, yeah.
Yeah, like really take into consideration what they're saying. And if they are actually just being a dick, then like maybe that's not someone that you want to surround yourself with. But if there's some truth there, then really take that into consideration and try and make some changes.
Right. They don't have to deliver it like no, you were being a bitch or anything like that. They could just be like, it wasn't one of your finest moments, but I think an apology will like definitely fix the situation.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely have your friends deliver your criticism in a nice and loving way.
Yes.
Fifth, are you just overall defeated and unimpressed towards your achievements? For example, I wish something like that would happen to me. You're so lucky. Just kind of like making it a about them and just I don't know. I guess like making it like it's not that big of a deal what you did and then kind of turning it around and just saying like, "Oh, poor me,"
Hmm.
like as if you didn't work hard to get where you got and
Yeah,
making it sound like it's all because of luck. Like that is the most irritating thing that anybody could tell me is that I'm lucky
I
because
fucking
luck
hate
had
that.
nothing to do. Maybe sometimes, sure,
Mhm.
maybe sometimes, but I wasn't built on luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that quite a bit. Like, oh, you're so lucky. Like I wish that, were to happen to me. And it's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at like my patterns and my history of how I got to this point, lots and lots of hard work went into it and lots of sacrifice. And I took the time and energy to achieve this thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, maybe some of the stars had to align. There's a little bit of luck with any success, but like, that's not all it is. I hate when people say that and they just
Yeah.
take away like your hard work under the
Mm-hmm.
guise of just luck.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like what people don't understand is with a lot of things that are hard, there is a, cost to entry of some sort, like either time or money or knowledge or anything like that. And for
Mhm.
us, we had to do it all for the things that we wanted to pursue as far as like passive income and anything else in our lives. Like going
Yeah.
to the gym, you have to show up and you have
Hmm.
to eat right and you have to schedule it out and you have to actually work out when you're there instead of just like being on your phone and then like
Right.
doing like a minute on the treadmill and then going home. Like,
Hmm.
so for you to say like what you're doing is based off of luck, honey, no, that is far from the truth.
Yeah, and same with like, having like a healthy relationship with your spouse. Like that takes
Mm.
work, that takes communication.
Oh
Like
yeah.
for my example, like Alex and I have been together since we were 15. So yeah,
Yes.
there's definitely some luck involved there. That's very uncommon, but that doesn't mean that it's been smooth sailing this whole time. We've had to work on things and, we've gone through like addiction and sobriety and like moving constantly and
Mm-hmm.
buying houses and renovations and like all of those kind of things can put a strain on a relationship, but it takes work to make
Yes.
it a healthy relationship. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, there's some luck involved, but that's not all that there is.
No. Okay, I forgot what number we're on, so we're just gonna name it. Or maybe do you feel like you can't come to your friend or family or associate because anything, win or lose, will be met with a disappointing response. So you just feel like, oh, I'd rather just not bring it up because
Hmm.
they're gonna, just be upset because they didn't get a promotion lately, or I don't know, they're going to make it uncomfortable because of X, Y, and Z. So these type of people are also a red flag in a more undetectable way.
Hmm.
So people that you need to cut off in your life, just that have that energy vampire. So they just every time that you hang out with them, they are like just draining you from your energy because it just takes a lot to be around them. Maybe they're a little
Yeah.
bit like hot-headed and every time that you go out it's like they make a big ordeal out of everything and like you're having to like resolve conflicts because they're being drunk and disorderly all the time. Just like energy vampires are definitely something that you want to look out for. People that are toxic that love and thrive off of spreading gossip or rumors, or
Hmm.
you could tell that they're two-faced because you heard from the grapevine that they told Marissa that she hated your outfit, but then to your face was like, "Oh, girl, you look good." So these types of people, you need to look, and you can feel it. You can definitely
Yeah,
feel when people are not your people.
right.
All right, let's talk about the positives here. So green flags, because they're just as important.
Hmm.
So here are some green flags to look out for when choosing and keeping friends and family in your life. They buy full price from your business and don't ask or guilt you into giving them a discount. I love my friends. All of them, I never had to ask, or they've never asked me, hey, can I get this for like half off? Like
Hmm.
that friend discount. And like all of them want to support me. All of
Yeah,
them just want to be there for me. And I totally am here for it.
I love that.
They listen to you when you're telling them about your achievements and only offer genuine excitement, so they don't turn it around, making it about them. They are listening and not just waiting to respond, like Lexi and I previously talked about.
Hmm.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves when I am, just finished a sentence and then somebody else is like, boom, I got something to say. They typically haven't been listening to you
Right.
and they're just waiting for the next time to say something.
Hmm. Or interrupting too. The people who
Oh,
just constantly interrupt and do not give you a chance to even finish your thought, and then they're on
oh.
their own tangent. And well, I guess it doesn't matter what I was saying anyways.
I've literally tuned out in conversations like that. As soon as you interrupt me, I'm like gone. I'm like, all right, I need to like I'm not interested in this
Yeah.
conversation anymore. And not that I need to talk about myself, for the majority of the conversation, but like if I can't even finish the sentence that I'm like literally trying to get out, then I'm just why should I do the same for you? Like
Hmm.
it's a two-way street.
For sure. One thing that I like to think about when having conversations with people, so I'm making sure that like I'm not interrupting people. I like to think about if I was on a podcast, would this be like, would you be able to listen to this if we were like, if I was constantly interrupting you? No one would listen to that podcast. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how a conversation should be in real life. It's like if we're constantly talking over each other, like, what is the point? We're not listening.
No, I actually really love that, and I'm gonna steal that because I really like that because it's so true. Like talking over each other is always so cringe whenever I've heard like a podcast
Yeah.
like that or like a YouTube interview. I'm just like, just please, just stop. But yes, I totally can relate to that.
Hmm.
They let you vent and offer you a shoulder to cry on during the hard times and don't find it annoying. I've had friends, I'm gonna say with air bunnies, that, I would go to and I'd be like, man, I'm still kind of upset about this situation. I'm sorry if like I've talked to you about this like multiple times already. And they're just kind of like, yeah, we've just like talked about this situation like multiple times, and I feel like you should be over it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, if only I actually was. Thank you
Yeah,
for that. I wish I was
exactly.
too.
Also, they don't have to financially always have to, support your business if you have one. They could share, like, repost, and comment on your business posts on their own because they want to support your brand. If they don't have money and they don't buy things that you're offering as far as product or services, that may not be like a personal thing. It maybe just because they don't have, the money for it right now, or,
Mhm.
just like different things happening. They don't try to diminish your accomplishments. They try to boost your confidence when you're feeling like an imposter, which happens to the best of us. It happens to
Yes.
me.
Hmm.
And they cheer you on during your important life events.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I mean, going back to how we started this episode with your friend, and you cheering them on when they're talking about doing something like unique and non-traditional
Mm,
with their lives. I think you really need that from, from your friends. You need that.
absolutely. So I like to say that everyone should have at least one or two people that they can call up and they know that that person on the other end will have their back 100%. Not everybody's going to be your best friend. And it just happens. Having a ride or die has been just so important in my life. It's changed my confidence and has made me feel so supported and loved. So I think everybody needs to have that one or two friends that it's like, you know what? I could be getting arrested. I could be changing my, tires on the side of the road. I could be, um, whatever. I could be having a bad day and I call you up and they're there for you.
Hmm.
Uh, I have I have had to get rid of a lot of people who have drained my energy, never really supported me, mocked my accomplishments, and I'm not going to lie, at first it hurts, but
Hmm.
down the road it truly has allowed me to grow. So, yes, it hurts losing friends. And I feel like for me, it all happened at once. I lost like a ton of friends all in one like season.
That
And
happened with me too.
I don't
Hmm.
know what it is, but I feel like it tends to go that way. And it really hurt me. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, is it me? Like, I'm the common denominator
Right.
here.
Hmm.
But then looking back on it now, and I know this is like hard for people going through it in the moment, but I'm on the other end now, and I can tell you that if they're not meant to be in your life and if they are dropping themselves, it is doing you a favor.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
don't beg for people to stay in your life just to have the friends.
Hmm.
Don't beg for people's attention or for them to give you something that you want from them
Yeah.
because it's just not organic and it's not genuine. The people that are in your life whether they're there now or they're going to be later on that really are there for you will be there for you. No
Right.
begging needed.
Yeah, and the same goes for family too. I mean, I've had to do that with family members where I don't talk to them at all
Mhm.
anymore, have not talked with them for years because it ended up being me constantly like begging for can we make this work and being the only one putting an effort. And so if you're in that situation with any of your relationships or you're the only one putting an effort and
Yeah,
the patterns that they have are just repeating, like at some point it's really just not worth it.
right. And that just brings up another red flag is if you're putting in more effort than the other person in the
Mhm.
relationship, like you are always the ones making the plans,
Right.
you're always the one reaching out, you're always the one checking in. Maybe that person is just trying not to be in your life, which does hurt, but it's their loss if you're the one who is constantly wanting to keep the relationship going. So, don't ever think that maybe you are the problem. I don't know you, but but if they're dropping because I don't know, different situations and you're like, it's probably for the best, then just lean on that because
Mhm.
all the time you have to think about is the quality of your friends rather than the quantity. I'm just gonna have to hammer that into everybody throughout
Yeah,
this episode.
absolutely.
So, having people that are equally as driven as I am to succeed are fighters, focus on improving themselves financially, emotionally, and spiritually, who level you up. Their influence on you and you on them is so important, which is why evaluating who is in your life is the key. And I don't mean cut everyone off who isn't your best friend. That's not it at all. It's okay to have associates. It's okay to have acquaintances and friends for a season, or just people that you know in similar circles. Not everyone in your life is going to be a ride or die, and that's just a part of life.
Mhm.
So you don't have to, cut people off if they're not like I don't know, super close to you. We all have those types of people in our lives,
Yeah.
and that's totally fine. That's totally normal. But when they're exhibiting the just the red flags, the ones you feel in your gut that aren't right from you or for you, then you got to cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this for family too. So setting boundaries or cutting family off is not selfish.
No.
It's not rude and it's not ungrateful or bad if it's affecting your mental health and it's detrimental to your growth. I don't care if it's your brother, your dad, your third cousin, if they're abusive or unsupportive or undermining you, they don't deserve a place in your life, bottom line.
Mic drop. Yeah. I couldn't have said that better myself.
So let's recap. Surround yourself with people that enrich your life. My best advice is that everyone on your roster should be someone that you can learn from because they are knowledgeable in a specific field or because they are emotionally stable and responsible. Like I I swear I've learned more from my stay-at-home mom best friend than an attorney that I used to work for, just because of her emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people don't think about that. It's it's so important to have people in your life that are like, exhibit that because you learn so much from them.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for the red and green flags. Curb the people who are walking red flags and hold on tight to your green flag people. And just because it's family, it doesn't mean that you have to keep them in your life. However, if it is important for you to keep them, make sure to set boundaries in order to protect yourself and your energy.
Yes.
The people you surround yourself with will influence your thinking, your life decisions, and way of being. So choose them carefully. Lastly, and I think this is equally as important, is be the green flag and friend and family member to those in your life because it goes both ways.
Yay. I love that so much. Thank you so much for this episode, Mims. I feel like the red flags and the green flags are so well thought out and so true to life and having relationships with all sorts of people. I think this is really important to talk about and for our listeners to hear too.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel this in my core because only recently, I want to say like maybe 3 years ago, I have really cultivated a really great group of friends and just people that I know would be there for me. And
Hmm.
I have not had that growing up, just like a group of friends. I've only
Yeah.
had like one good friend.
Hmm.
So I could take every individual friend and even family member now and can tell you how these people make my life better. And I feel like if you can do that in your life, then you're golden.
Yeah, you're in a good place.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. I hope that you learned something and make sure to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram and make sure to give us a rating on Spotify.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your support as always, and we will see you next week for another one.
Bye.
Bye.
Passive Aggressive Income was written, recorded, edited, and produced by co-hosts and creators Mims and Lexi. We truly want to thank our listeners, collaborators, friends, and family that continuously support us for all the love we receive. If you enjoy our show, please give us a glowing rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see what we are up to. For any inquiries, please email passiveaggressiveincome2023@gmail.com. Episodes of Passive Aggressive Income are available wherever you listen to podcasts, so make sure to subscribe and like us on your favorite streaming platform.